This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Welcome back to another edition of Real Answers, a regular Wednesday feature during the Family Life Noon Report, where we discuss the issues that matter to families with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. Chris, welcome back.
Good to be here once again, Mark.
Good to have you. A bit of a sensitive topic we're going to try to tackle today, namely how to talk to teens and preteens about sex. That might bring back some painful memories of their parents awkwardly sitting them down for the talk, and I don't know who it was more painful for, parents or the kids.
That could probably be a tie, I would say.
Yes, but for kids of today, things have certainly changed a lot compared to those old birds and bees lectures. It's just about impossible to avoid being bombarded with information, and much of it inaccurate, and at ever younger ages, it seems, too.
No, absolutely. And we're just seeing this play out in school districts across the country. And the ongoing debate is just how much should schools be involved in sex education, particularly when it comes to the hot button topics of today.
Of course, we saw that play out here in the listening area with the debate in the Penfield School District with a controversial book that wound up being available to kids as young as kindergartners. That brought a lot of anger against the school board there and a lot of parents concerned, and that's not an isolated case either, is it?
Parents need to be aware that this is going on. They're going to attempt to put these types of books into our school libraries, our public libraries, and ultimately into teaching situations as well. Parents, you need to be aware. You cannot sit back idly and think that, because I go to this school district or that school district, that it's not going to impact me. No, you need to be aware, and you need to know exactly what your children are being taught in the schools.
And certainly a sensitive topic like this needs to be addressed first at home.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Scripture is just full of examples of why parents need to be first and foremost educating and disciplining their children, and that is very much needed today, where we just drop the balls of society and really the world in doing that. And it's time, parents, to pick up that mantle once again and be responsible for your children's education, especially when it comes to sensitive and controversial topics.
You're listening to Real Answers. I'm Mark Webster, along with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson, talking about how to talk to your teens and preteens about sex. I guess one of the tough questions is when.
It really is very situationally dependent and circumstantial, quite honestly, because there's going to be some children that either through no fault of their own or maybe through bad choices find themselves in a situation where they are having to have discussions about sexuality. And one particular situation that might come up is if you are the parent of a teen or a preteen or even younger, unfortunately, where let's say you find evidence in your child's room or somewhere else that your child is sexually active or has been or is being exposed to, let's say, pornography. What do you do at that point? It really depends on what the situation is, how you approach it, and the age of the child, whether you're talking about a son or a daughter. One big thing to remember is don't be afraid to address the topic. Do it directly. And of course, if you need some assistance in doing that, there's great books on the subject. Focus on the Family has good books on the subject, or speak to a professional, mental health counselor. Get some help. Don't be afraid, though. That fear is what keeps many parents from just really addressing this head on. You may or may not make mistakes doing so, but that's okay. Don't let that discourage you from doing what you need to do, which is to have very frank and forward conversations with your children.
Probably can't address this completely without talking about electronics, because so much of that wrong information and inappropriate information comes via that route.
It's unbelievable just how easily accessible pornography and inappropriate material is because of computers and because of these handheld devices. Everybody walks around now with a computer, a telephone, and a camera in their pockets all the time now. I mean, and obviously the devil's our enemy. He is relentless attacking families in this area. It's just one of the biggest things you need to do as a parent is know where your children are going online. And if you've been a little too generous in allowing the online activity, it's okay to say, folks, we need to make some adjustments here. This is what we're going to be doing from now on. And yeah, you're going to get some pushback from your children, but it's worth the pushback to deal with it if in the long run it's going to protect them and help them develop a healthier sense of themselves, but also avoid the trap of pornography and inappropriate sexual activity. That phone or whatever screen your child is using, please know what is on there. Please know where they're going. It's not the school's responsibility to do that. It's yours as the parent. Okay, ultimately, you are the parent. You are your child's greatest influence. You need to know where they're going. Something else too, Mark, when you're having conversations with your teens, be direct, talk about it, use proper terminology, avoid using today's vernacular, because that is just a lot of times that is laced with humor and laced with inappropriate undertones as well. Be very clear, very specific on why inappropriate sexual activity is unhealthy, literally at every level: physical, spiritual, emotional health, why it's going to have detrimental impacts on them. They may not believe you, but they're hearing the truth. You got to remember, God uses the truth because he is the author of all truth. Make sure in all of these conversations that you are clearly telling them how much you love them, and that you, as a loving Christian parent, you are not going to steer them wrong, and that they can trust you on this.
You've been listening to Real Answers, a Wednesday feature of the Family Life Noon Report, where we discuss the issues most important to families with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. Thanks again, Chris.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.
You hit the button on your car radio, and instantly the music and programming of Family Life brings joy and inspiration to your day. It's always there, 24/7, 365. But you know what? It wouldn't be there if you and many others just took it for granted and never got involved. Hi, I'm Rick Snavely, Family Life CEO. Family Life relies almost exclusively on listeners just like you to keep this ministry thriving. Every day, we are blessed to hear how the Lord uses His work at Family Life to impact lives, and you make that possible with your financial support. You can contribute right now at familylife.org.